Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Desert Underground podcast. I'm here with Brian Holm.
Hi, Dane.
My effervescent co-host. We are welcoming you from 2021. My name's Desert Danish, and this is the Desert Underground podcast revamped. We're calling it revamped. I don't know.
Is that it?
I don't know. I just came up with that. Does it sound good?
We can go with that, I think.
We'll ballpark it. No, that's not spitball it.
What about redo?
We'll brainstorm it.
We can redo.
Desert Underground Podcast Redux. I'm using a voiceover mic, so I've been looking up voiceover stuff all day. I think I want to get into it, man.
Yeah.
Coming soon to a podcast near you.
If you had the movie phone guy voice, and it was this summer. Two guys sat at a table and
socially distanced. I don't know, man. I was thinking maybe that's a thing. I don't know. We'll see. We definitely have a couple different layouts than we used to have. New microphones, new recorders, new year.
New year, new us. We're moving forward. So there's no guest today, so it's just going to be us shooting the shit. That's good, man.
What do you think, man? I think we have a lot to catch up on from the last year, and we didn't get to really do it in the last episode.
So much.
So September 2019 or something was the last actual podcast before this one with Chuck that just is coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been like a year and a half.
Did we actually, was it, I think it was prior to the earthquake, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so your dates are way off. Buddy.
Shit. In a world where Dane doesn't understand time.
You're actually getting it. You're going to be good at that.
Yes. I can't wait, dude. Does anyone out there need voiceover work? Because I am open for biz. I got this. It's a new mic. It's a Shure SM7B Bravo.
Yeah, right now there's probably two people who are
hey Sandy
looking it up right now. Oh, that's a quality microphone, dang.
It's what I understand is the podcast standard. It's fun to go deep on this mic.
Yeah,
good times. So
I think that means that you're either doing very well for yourself or the podcast is really taking off. So
yeah, the podcast is definitely taking off. I think 5 people listened to it recently.
That's fantastic.
No, actually, I emailed you all the stats today. It was pretty good. It was. You know what? We just re-released all the old episodes on YouTube and on iHeartRadio and Spotify, so everybody could archive and listen to those older podcasts that we did years ago. And honestly, people listened to them again. It was weird because they didn't really at the time. So I was like, "Thanks for the support, guys. That would have been cool."
Is that because they're just desperate for entertainment?
You know, and that's an interesting question because now that we are so stuck at home and so yearning for new information or anything to entertain ourselves during COVID times.
Yeah, it really is, man. And it's like a new show pops up on Netflix and everybody you know is like can't wait to get off work so they can watch whatever the new...
Okay, prime example. January, Tiger King.
Oh, good God. Yeah, there is so much to talk about.
You know what I mean? Like, Tiger King was this year, man. Well, I mean, technically last year, but, 2020, January, February, it was right around that time frame.
Wow.
Yeah, Carol fucking Baskin. Shit.
I didn't even know. Yeah.
There was Australian fires. I donated $10, just in case Australia needed it.
Yeah, what
put a
about,
fire out?
What about all the California fires, man?
Yeah, I donated $10.
Just in case.
That seems to be my standard fire rate. I even gave Wikipedia money this year.
Really?
You know what? I use it so much and they beg me so much that I'm like, all right.
It's one of those things over the years I've been... Every single time I go there and I see their message, I want to give. I'm like, oh, I should just kick him a few bucks, and then I'm like, all right, well, next time.
Next time. And then here we are, 15 years later, and I've probably been there 10,000 times and never given them $1.
Yeah, I'd say I hit up Wikipedia at least 10 times a week. just to get some unverified information. All
right, so we have a huge year to look back on, I guess, and things to talk about and so many things that happened. But let's start with a quick recap of 2021 so far. It's only been a week, and yet we've already seen maybe the greatest thing that's happened to the internet in a decade.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
The Twisted Tea thing.
Oh my God! Was that this year?
It was. I think so. I think it was just a couple days ago.
Man, that was pretty fucking good.
That was up there, man. I mean,
the Twisted Tea guy getting knocked the fuck out in a convenience store. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even because there's for me there's multiple levels on that. One, it's just this obnoxious asshole in the convenience store. Everybody's been around that obnoxious asshole somewhere at a party,
clearly
or
drinking.
Yeah. And then there's the whole racist side of it. He's just being a dick. The part to me that just the guy takes his beer cans and slams them on the counter, and he's like, "You gonna slap me with that? Slap me! Oh, slap me!" And then that sound, man,
after talking shit to the guy,
the sound was just.
It almost felt like it was dubbed in there.
It did. It's just glorious, man.
Absolutely beautiful. And then obviously the guy kept wailing on him.
Well, you have to. Yeah, well, he hit him. He clocked him. I mean, perfect. Just had just enough carbonation in there to bust it open when it hit his head. The whole, and then the guy starts doing a little a fist thing, like he wants to fight with the guy, and then the dude just pounded him out. It was just beautiful.
It's glorious. I loved watching. I love watching people who deserve it get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah. And I don't want to promote or glorify, the fact that this dude got knocked out. But if anyone ever deserved it, that guy in that moment was it.
So I'm trying to find it real quick. The guy posted recently on Twitter, maybe?
The guy that got knocked out?
Yeah, the guy that got knocked out.
Did he apologize? Or?
No.
You challenged him to a fight behind the Kmart or something?
He did. It was like the opposite of apologizing. Even though the guy clearly deserved to get knocked out. It was glorious, man.
I can just picture, you didn't get me. I'll meet you after school.
Yeah, it was basically here we go. His name is Randy Teeter. He wrote, all right, here we go. Listen, man, I don't give a fuck who thinks I'm not from the hood. I've been scrapping since I was a kid. The only reason that guy won that fight is because he smacked me with the T when I wasn't ready. It's called the cheap shot, bitches. Also, I'll fight him straight up anyway. A fair fight, I will win. And then he continued. I'm going to find that dude that hit me with the T and make him regret what he did. I'm from the fucking hood. You're from a car hood, bro.
Oh, my God.
You know what? It's one thing to be an asshole, but it's another thing to be an asshole who doesn't know he's an asshole. Does that make him a better asshole?
Is that kind of like the hot chick?
It's the hot chick theory. Okay. Yeah. Like he doesn't realize he's that big of a. He is the perfect dumb villain.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I look at it like this: if you everybody at some point in their life has had that moment where they were the asshole and they were the one that was out of line and they were the one who created or escalated a really dick situation into something maybe violent, maybe just humiliating, whatever it is. But when you get your ass beat and every person on the planet is replaying it over and over and over,
memeing you,
yeah, just shut up. And if you got to say something, come out and say, look, man, I was really drunk that day. I really apologize for my behavior, and just apologize and let it go, and people will move on to whatever the next ignorant fool.
Well, I mean, how many N-bombs was that guy dropping?
I know.
You know what I mean? So, like, at the very least, you can semi-apologize for that, I would think.
But I think it gets worse than that, though, because now once I kept thinking about this afterwards. I'm like, every single person that guy knows laughs at him. every person he sees in the grocery store or the gas station or wherever he goes is laughing like, hey, it's a guy. But not only that, every person who he's offended with this racist shit wants to kick his ass.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Guys, I mean, you just like, you paint this giant target on yourself, and then you don't even have the I don't even want to say, I don't know what the word is, not self-respect, but the brightness to apologize for it and just say, look, I was out of line. I was trying to impress a girl. I was trying to act badass in front of this. I don't know, whatever it is. You have to come up with something. But
yeah.
God,
it's this weird mentality that I think a certain type of person has, the certain gene where they're like, I cannot understand I'm doing wrong because I'm so cool. I'm doing right all the time.
Yeah, I guess that's it.
Like there's just no way to feel like you're in the wrong. I know a few people like that where they just, everything they do is super cool as shit, and you get knocked out with twisted teeth sometimes. It's not even your fault. It wasn't even my fault, man. In a fair fight, I'll whoop his ass.
So at what point do you think that kicks in? Is that like the day after you buy your first trucker hat, or the day you put on your first wife beater t-shirt? Somewhere along the line that kicked in for that guy.
I think it's when your mom drinks her first Pabst Blue Ribbon when you're growing inside of her. I think that's where it starts.
Maybe it might be.
It's the PBR, man. And then she gets them Del Taco churros.
And a Diet Coke.
And then smokes her first bowl of crack. I mean, that's realistically probably where it starts. And maybe he is from the hood, man. I'll give him that.
Well, maybe, but
clearly he didn't realize there's rules. No, and you know what? Real talk, he could probably beat my ass because I don't fight. So I'm going to call it. I think in a fair fight, he would whoop my ass.
I don't know, man. I just looked in your fridge and you got a whole bunch of twisted teas in there. So,
a fair fight, though, not where I'm wielding a twisted tea. No, I can admit it, man. I think he's got that the daddy doesn't love me anger. that kind of it lets you go further than what your normal routine would let you go in a fight. I think that's where I'm at, man.
I don't know that dude.
Once you drink a Mad Dog 2020, man, you're gone, brother. You got it. Something like that. Anyway, so yeah, that was a pretty wild incident to happen, and I think the craziest part I've noticed about this year of solitude for everybody is they are dying to let rage out. You know what I mean? Like everybody has all this pent up aggression. They're not doing the thing. The gyms are closed. They can't go get it out. So, when it comes to like politics, or when it comes to fighting, or any kind of like new thing where they can show off that aggression, they're like, oh, I'm so fucking in. I will.
All right, so yeah, I agree with you on that, and there's a large aspect of that going on right now with all the hate and division and stuff going on. But let's not confuse that one, man. That dude, the warrior with the tea can, that dude was patient as hell, man. I think at some point sooner than he did, I would have popped that guy. I mean, that dude was just over the line over and over and over.
Yeah,
and absolutely. Then he did the thing, man. You don't go smack me, because then you get smacked. That's just what happens,
Now I watched a video from Master Ken, and he said you are legally obligated to smack him when he says that.
Really?
Legally. So if he says you got to smack me,
I saw a thing. Not that I fixated on this video. I don't want to talk about it forever, but I watched all the meme videos,
every single one. Yeah.
But I saw this one where this guy who's maybe, I don't know, a ghetto lawyer or something, was like, oh no, he legally, when that boy kicked at his tea can, he had the legal right to whoop his ass. And I was like, oh shit, maybe he did. Maybe that counts. As soon as the guy kicked him, even if it just touched your hand, maybe you got the right to. That's assault. So I don't know. I don't think there's anything's going to come out of that.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. I don't know.
And again, if it was me, would I even want to go to court and be like, Your Honor, here's the video?
I've seen it. Oh man, I couldn't imagine being that much of a bigot to just sit there and think I'm better than everybody and just call people out. Maybe you had a rough day, man. I don't know, but that was kind of beyond, having a rough day. That was just you being a dick.
No, agreed. And I think we've established. I think the thing is just that Twitter thing that you just read me. Obviously, Twitter gives you a voice. You can be whatever you want on there, but where's your humility? I mean, just man up. You got your ass whipped, and everybody saw it. There's no smack talking you do at that point. Just shut the hell up, admit it, and say, all right, man, dude kicked my ass. I was being a dick.
We're gonna get emails after this. I know it from him. He's probably going online and looking at every single person that talks shit about him so he can respond.
He'll probably be outside your house going, "I'll kick your ass."
Hey, but he's famous now, right? Maybe he'll be on Tosh.0 redeeming himself or something down the road.
So
Twisted Tea might give him a car. I don't know. since you already got hit by a car once.
Yeah, wouldn't that be the commercial? It'd be like everyone smacks this guy. Anyway,
I think that's perfect.
So today is a pretty big day.
Huge day.
Yeah, we got the whole election thing going on with the Senate runoffs, and not that we're going to get into politics on here, but
down in Georgia, we got one state that's going to decide what the next 2 or 4 years of the U.S.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
That's pretty darn big. And on top of that, we've got this giant
fucking Carol Baskin.
Yeah, fucking Carol Baskin. We've got this giant division going on in the country over this whole thing. Our personal politics aside, it's huge because it's so divided, and it's sad that it is that divided, but it's a fact. That's how things are right now. But the thing that's a little worrisome to me is we've got like 2 million people heading to DC for this giant protest tomorrow when they do the election certification stuff. And man, it's just a flash fire waiting to happen,
It goes back to what I was saying earlier, where everyone has pent up aggression throughout the year.
Yeah, that's where I would definitely.
And so Black Lives Matter happened this last year. And I want to say it was very much in that same vein of like, normally people would protest. Yes, it was just exactly like the Rodney King, well, I mean, I was kind of young at the time, but it was very much like that. I've seen a lot of the videos. But this was more of a nationwide thing. But then you had cities that weren't even involved because, back then it was like people in LA were rioting because of that. I don't think people in Wisconsin were rioting because of that.
Yeah, I don't, I remember when it happened. I think there was a little bit in New York.
You were in LA at the time, weren't you?
And actually, I think it was like 93. I think it might have been out here. But I think there was a little bit of that in New York and a little bit in Chicago or something. But it wasn't like all over the country and all over the world. I mean, frankly, with the George Floyd thing, that was everywhere.
And rightfully so. I think it was 92 was Rodney King.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I don't want to. I guess I don't want to come down on the people that were protesting, but I think that the folks up in Portland who just kind of turned it into I guess Seattle as well. They kind of just turned it into a reason to rip shit up. And that's if you have a grievance and you have a problem and you want to protest and you want to make your voice heard, it's fine. It's absolutely. I mean, it's fine to go out there and make your voice heard, but don't burn down police stations for it. You're not proving anything other than you're going to get your ass kicked.
It's such a touchy situation. I mean, people feel how they feel. They're allowed to feel that way. And, and it sucks that certain things happen the way they did. And it was wrong. A lot of reform needs to happen. I don't understand what spray painting a dick on the public restrooms in Ridgecrest is going to do about it.
Right.
But right on, anarchy, I guess. Go on with your badass self.
What's funny about that? While that was going on, I'm a big movie guy. I couldn't help but think in the back of my mind, like, as the riots are going on in the downtown of all these cities, I kept picturing in the back of my head, like this gang, like from Heat, like they're cutting through the safe at a gold storage facility or precious metals, storage. I kept picturing all these criminal enterprises going on in the background. And it was like a perfect time for the cops have just basically left the city. They're not engaging in anything. And if you're an actual real deal criminal, not a troublemaker, is just using it as an excuse to go, steal a TV. Man, that was a perfect opportunity.
I'm sure it was prime time. I'm sure a lot of stuff happened too. I don't know, but everything's so digital nowadays. There isn't as many of those cat burglars and prime. I mean, I'm guessing. I don't know. I mean, at a certain point, don't you think it's very much like, I can just Bluetooth chip, somebody at the gas station now, as opposed to actually having to do work.
I think deep down inside, I just really want to be Robert De Niro from that movie.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't you? So the Black Lives Matter movement absolutely was important, and a lot of reform needs to happen. I don't know the right way to do it. I don't know what the answer is. I don't think anybody truly knows what the answer is, and everybody's got their opinion on it, and that's fine. But realistically, people need to be treated as people. And if they're criminals, they still need to be treated as people. But, there's a line that needs to be less gray area. And I think they're starting to do it. They're like saying there's no chokeholds allowed and things like that. But if a guy's got if he's going to blow himself up in front of a federal building, yeah, I'd say go ahead, go for the chokehold.
But see, in that case, I totally disagree. If there's a guy going to blow himself up, so be it.
You're like, everyone get back.
Yeah, pretty much.
I get that.
But I get your point about trying to keep things humane. In some cases, yeah. In some cases, no. If you're a cop and you're in a situation where you're fighting for your life, I'd say no holds barred. But if there's 4 of you or 3 of you and you've got a guy basically said, dude, don't kneel on his neck.
You know what killed me?
Whether he was on fentanyl or whatever it is,
right?
You just don't kneel on a guy's fucking neck when you've got him subdued. Just stop.
Yeah, as soon as he's subdued, that's
put the cuffs on him, throw him in the car, let him beat his head against the window or whatever, and just none of that happens.
The thing that got me the most from watching that video, I watched the body cam footage. The guy picked a rock out of his tire while he was sitting on that guy's neck. I was like, come the fuck on, man! Like, seriously, not okay. Not okay, man. Depeche Mode said it best. People are people. Treat people like people. People out, people. You know that one? It was on the radio for like 500 years.
Yeah, I know that one.
I mean, don't admit it. Yeah. People are, that's how I looked at it, man. Like, everybody deserves a chance to live unless they're doing something that's so stupid they're going to hurt a bunch of people. Then maybe not.
Well, I agree with you. Fundamentally, dude, it comes down to the basic tenet in life is just don't be a dick, right? So
sure. I think a famous guy said that, didn't he? What was his name? I think it was Jesus.
Was that in the commandments?
Don't be a dick.
It should be.
It definitely should be.
Right? It should be like 1.
Like number 1, don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Rule number 2, see rule number 1.
Right.
And so forth. Yeah.
I think you just don't. Maybe law enforcement is one of those career paths that needs better recruitment methods, better retention methods, and maybe better psychological testing and better pay. I mean, if you can maybe recruit the best people with that, and you're not putting people who in the situation who are maybe on a power trip or they've got, 10 years on the job and they're just bitter about a certain group, whatever it is, maybe that's the route where you start to compensate them really well and they feel valued and start to treat the people that they're supposed to be in charge of with respect as opposed to, treating them inhumanely. I mean, that said, I understand that cops see the worst of everything every day, and most of it is probably overwhelmingly horrifying. Most of the stuff
I would absolutely hate that job.
Yeah, but they're still at a point where like you've got this guy just don't kneel on his fucking neck. It's just, I mean, it's not that big of a thing.
Exactly.
Just subdue him, do your job, put him in the car, it's over with.
But the other side of that same coin is like when you're out on the streets, you're the front line of protecting people from crazy people.
Oh, totally.
Or people who are going to hurt a bunch of people, or you don't know. And not knowing is that really difficult part of you need to be a really good decision maker really quick. But another prime example is I was in the Army for 9 years. You were in the military, you know. Were you ever deployed to a theater of war? So you don't have a choice. Like you go and then you're the cop now. And you're in that situation where you don't know if a mortar's coming in. You don't know if the guy on the hill is going to shoot. You don't know if he's just making a phone call and trying to find signal or if he's trying to blow up a bomb near you. So you don't know. Like it sucks. It's a really weird and tough, horrible place to be.
Granted, but if in that case, whatever that case is, you've subdued that guy and you've got him, zip tied and in the dirt, do you just stand on his head because he's the enemy, or do you like be humane about it?
Well, remember Abu Ghraib, or however you say it,
right?
I mean, they didn't treat those people like humans at all.
Agreed.
So yeah, that's the whole movement, and I think people's aggression building up into that movement. So I think it became a bigger movement than it actually intended to be when it first started, and that's why businesses started getting ripped apart, and that's why the shit was on fire show was happening all day long on TV.
You say I disagree with that. I don't think that. My take on that is let's just throw a number out there. Let's say we have 100,000 people, right? Mm-hmm. Who are genuinely upset and offended, and they're out there legitimately protesting, and they want to make their voices heard. Then you have a subset of society who's just literally looked at it as an opportunity to go burn shit up and go steal a TV.
Yeah, like anarchist opportunists.
Yeah, so no, and that's all. Just like that's another subset that I would say. Like we have this thing where you have all these the anarchists who are out there like, well, we're just gonna go break shit and try and start a war between these two groups of people. But you also have the group, and I don't want to classify anybody, but you have the group of people who are just like, riots tonight, motherfucker, because they can. Because there's
I feel like I grew up with some of those people.
Well, I mean, if you've got 30,000 people in your downtown of your city protesting, and the cops are occupied and just from the side, it doesn't take but 1,000 of those people or 1,000 people on top of that to just go down there and start stealing shit, and then you get what you get.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually surprised that there weren't more murders and assaults during that, because it's a perfect opportunity to get away with shit that you wouldn't normally, the cops would stop you.
Agreed. Yeah. And, there was a lot of vehicular, I don't know if it was manslaughter or murders or whatever. There was a lot of people getting hit by cars during those riots because people were trying to just either get out, or they were just like, fuck it, I'm driving through.
Right.
But the peaceful protest was worth it and good. And sometimes to make a change, you gotta, squeaky wheel gets the oil. So, I mean, maybe these people, rung a bell.
Maybe. Yeah.
And someone, finally builds on that reform. And I know they're trying to do it. I think in LA, they're trying to work with, certain groups to make sure that things are a little more legit and a little less guy that was a hall monitor growing up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So where do you stand on that? Let me say you're the guy. I've thought about this a bunch of times because I've seen that. I saw multiple. You're in a car and you made a wrong turn, and suddenly you're surrounded by a group of people who are jumping up and down on your top of your car and slamming on your windows, and you don't. Whether you might be on the same team, they don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
But where do you stand? Because I don't know if I would just sit there and be like, "Oh, I'm on your team," because I saw what happened to the dude in L.A. in the King riots. I think my gut instinct would be to floor it and fuck whoever's in my way. But I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. I wouldn't want to kill anybody. But I don't know if I would sit there and even risk getting myself beat to death
It's tough, man. I don't know what I would do because it's one of those things where you don't know until you're in that situation,
right?
And you just, your gut instincts take over and you just do what you got to do. Now, if I did get to that point where I did have to hit a motherfucker because they were monkey jumping on my car or whatever the hell they were doing, and busting my windows and all that stuff, trying to pull me out of the car, you got to do what you got to do to save you. But also, I don't know, they're putting themselves in a situation where you might fuck them up. They're trying to fuck you up. Dog eat dog, right?
I know.
What do you do? I don't want to ever hurt anybody if I can help it. But if it's my life or your life, I'm going to choose mine pretty much every time. Unless it's my kids or something, you know what I mean? Man, that just made me think of like all those movies where like Armageddon, where he's like, you take care of my daughter. You know what I'm talking about?
You're the man now, AJ.
You know what I mean? Like all those times where you're just like, I'll be the guy. I'll stay here and I'll blow it up. That kind of. Yeah, definitely. I would totally do that. For my kids.
It's a really tough situation because you think about it.
You're the man now, AJ.
Right?
Why do you know that line? You love that movie, don't you?
Armageddon.
Oh man.
I just can't imagine it, man. Imagine if you're in the car with your with your family or and you're on their team, man. You're like, fuck yeah, but someone mistakes you or you drove too fast into the intersection. They start,
Yeah.
It's just like one of those situations where you got, I don't know what I would do. It's crazy.
I don't know. I don't have an answer. I really don't. But I would try to look into myself and realistically, when it comes down to the fighting type stuff, I would strike first. I would strike hard, and there would be no mercy.
Right.
In this dojo.
I know, I'm with you.
Right? Now, that's been my favorite thing about this last year is, so all right. I was the only guy I knew that saw season 1 before it got picked up on Netflix. Because, or as my dad says, Netflix. Hey, Dane, can you help me with the Netflix? Dane, help me with my Netflix. I think it's on my Voodoo. Oh, man. Bless his heart, I guess. So I was the only person I knew that watched season 1, and I was like, this is the shit. I got YouTube Red, because that's what it was released on originally. Right? Cobra Kai is what we're talking about here, in case anybody doesn't know. And it was Cobra Kai, and season 1, YouTube Red, and that was like, YouTube was trying to put out like a video platform where they're like, we're our own movie studio now. And it was so fucking cool that I was like, okay, I will subscribe to the free trial. So I got the free trial. I binged watched, all 10 episodes or whatever it was, and then immediately canceled my subscription. Right. And,
oh my God.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm not paying $20 a month for YouTube Red.
When that came out and you guys were like endlessly talking about it, every time I would see you, I was like, that's so stupid.
It's so stupid,
Those
right? The
movies were so stupid.
The corniest fucking. Okay, so my girlfriend, before we started this, told you, ask me about when I was 7, and what the Karate Kid movies meant to me.
So Dane wanted to be Daniel LaRusso.
Okay,
bad.
so
I could tell.
So okay, I was a very. What years were those that it came out? 86.
It was the 80s. Yeah, I remember.
So I was 3 to 7 when the first 3 movies came out. And Daniel San was...
I was actually Daniel LaRusso's age.
So you get it. Were you from Jersey?
No, but I lived in the Valley. So.
Oh shit. Did you ever make it to the All Valley tournament?
There wasn't a thing.
Put him in a body bag. That was you? So when I was young and impressionable, those movies meant the world to me. And my mom had HBO, which means we got to tape stuff off of HBO. So we had all these like taped movies. And I watched the Karate Kid movies over and over and over. I also watched Rad and Thrashin'. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
No, I am.
I actually watched Rad the other day just for fun. It's actually pretty good still.
Yeah.
No. So This is the story. I remember this very vividly. It's one of the only memories I have in my mom's house when she still lived in California, because she moved to Wyoming when I was 7. I remember walking into the kitchen and I said, "Mom, I'd like to legally change my name to the Karate Kid."
Call me Dane Juris.
No. I wanted to legally change my name to the Karate Kid. And I don't like telling that story, but it's important.
Did you have a little gi that you'd walk around in everywhere?
I didn't yet. But that next year I did. I joined Taekwondo the very next year, and I did it for like 2 years. So yeah, I was very into the Karate Kid movies until the girl one was at number 4. The other Karate Kid or something. And then they did one with Jaden Smith, which was
they tried to reboot it.
Yeah,
and
terrible. So it's weird to me that a company.
So the girl one though was Hilary Swank.
That's right.
Yeah.
No, I totally forgot. But I didn't give a shit at the time because I was young still.
Okay.
I was doing cool stuff. I was probably in a band. Probably wasn't watching a lot of movies at the time.
Oh, so you went from wanting to change your name to Karate Kid to now you're cool and you're in a band and stuff?
It was Ralph Macchio. That's what made it for me.
Really?
Yeah, because I couldn't get into the Jaden Smith one. I couldn't get into the Hilary Swank one. I mean, Miyagi was cool, but yeah. No, man, I wanted to legally change my name to the Karate Kid.
Could you imagine all the cool shit?
What if she had said yes?
Yeah, what would have happened in your life if you'd actually become the Karate Kid?
She was like, all right, let's go.
That's funny. So, quick side story to that. Not Karate Kid related at all, but
oh, shit.
Movie related like that. I've got a friend. Do you remember there was a really shitty cowboy movie about bull riders, early mid 90s. It's called 7 Seconds.
7 Seconds.
Yeah.
Yep. Of course I remember that. I think we had to watch it in school.
Right. So I have a good friend, is one of my best friends. Like I grew up with this guy, from crib size.
Also, can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
Never ask someone from Wyoming if they saw a rodeo movie. They did.
You know, when you said Wyoming, that's what made it pop in my head.
They did. Go ahead.
So anyway, I grew up with this guy, and he was in the same path as me. We're going to be rock stars. We're going to do musicians, guitars, and chicks and drugs and all that shit. And then he saw that movie, and he literally in 3 weeks sold everything he owned, bought him a pickup truck, and joined the bull riding circuit.
No shit.
No shit.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
How do you even do that?
Right. I have no idea. No, I mean, he's got this brand new hat, still got the tag on it, and he's out there,
Wow.
So I didn't see him. It was right about the time I left from the military. I came back on leave 2 years later, and he didn't even look like the same guy because his face had been busted up so many times from, bull riding crashes or whatever happens to you out there.
I think that's how there's an annual 5-a-side tournament in Ridgecrest that is for a kid named Matt Armstrong who played soccer here a lot. I think that's how he passed away. I think he went bull riding and broke his spleen and then passed away. Yeah, I think that was the story. He was 2 years before I played soccer here a lot when I was a teenager. I was on 3 teams. That's how much soccer I was playing. That was great, man. I ruled rec league.
Can I finish my story
now? Yeah. Oh, I thought you were done. Yeah, go ahead, man.
So
wait. So all right, let's recap. He watched 7 seconds.
He did.
You sure it was 7 seconds? Isn't it 9?
I think it's 7 seconds. That's what
because that's a band. 7 seconds.
Is it?
Yeah. Maybe that's why.
8 seconds.
8 seconds.
However long you got to stay on the bull for it to count.
I think it's 9.
Yeah, you have all the Google there.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, like I said, he did that, and the dude went legit. He went for it. He broke his face up a bunch of times. Turned into just genuine shit kicker cowboy guy, and social media came out, and he's not part of it. He's lives on a ranch in Nevada, and his life now is teaching ranching and horseback riding to these kids in the penal system up there, like, weekend kind of thing. So this dude literally saw a movie, a shitty movie, by the way, and changed his entire life in the course of a week, and he never went back to it. Every time I think of that guy, I'm like, wow, I've been inspired by movies before, but not like that.
Yeah.
I mean, your entire life is different because of a movie.
I based my life off a couple movies.
You're talking about the Karate Kid.
Yeah. So Karate Kid, part 1 and 2, not 3. I haven't been to Japan. But I did like the callback, spoiler alert.
Okinawa.
When he went to Okinawa in season 3, and that guy was there.
Yeah. Dun, dun, dun.
And then he whoops his ass. Oh, that was fucking cool.
And then honked him.
Honk. So I looked up 7 Seconds. It's a 2005 American crime action thriller film with Wesley Snipes.
Try 8 seconds. And then we'll try 9.
It's about police corruption.
Whatever. The radio fans that are listening will know. They'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe these guys don't know how long you go ride a bull for.
8 seconds.
Was it 8 seconds?
8 seconds. Okay. I was we split the difference because I said 9.
All right, so we totally got way off topic. Let's bounce over to other heinous shit that happened in 2012 or 2020 before we go on to good shit that happened. COVID. Still here, still raging. I know there's a huge segment of the population that believes it's all bullshit, and another segment of that population that says, fuck it, I don't care. It's only going to kill so many people. Whatever. If I get it, I die. If I'm tough, and if I don't, then I don't.
Give me 8 seconds with coronavirus, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's. I've never seen my friends and my family and loved ones more divided than on the recent politics and the recent science, and there is no right answer to a lot of it. And I think the biggest issue is all the unknowns, because we cannot, maybe one of the theories or one of the things that have happened scientifically is the right exact thing. That's the right thing, but it's not been long enough to prove it, tried and true. This is it. And because of all that unknown, everybody's just kind of, what the fuck do we do? And then so everybody came up with their own idea of what they should do. And for a lot of people, it was, the government's just trying to control me, man. And for a lot of people, it was, I'm not leaving my fucking house. For a lot of people, it was, every time you cough, you're like, fuck, what was that?
Well, no, and then there's a lot of people who are they're just playing the odds. They're like, well, if it only, if I get sick, I get sick, but it only kills 0.9% of the people that get it. So,
yeah.
Here's my take on the whole corona thing in a nutshell. I will say, it's terrifying that it exists. It's terrifying that it could kill any one of us that fast. It's absolutely terrible what our just convoluted, terrible response as a whole to it has been. There's so many people's lives are just completely destroyed and aren't coming back from this. Not just because of the virus, but people who their businesses were shut down. Their jobs are gone. They're out of a house in a month, whatever. I think had we as a group at the start of this all pulled to the same direction, pulled the same, rowed the boat in the same direction and took it seriously, that first shutdown, I think we would be beyond it now.
For anyone listening, we live in California, so lots of shutdown.
Yeah. And right now it's horrifying. Right now it's terrible. This is not a place you want to be right now in terms of being around infected people. But what we didn't do is we didn't pull that boat in the same direction. We all went our separate directions. We had that splinter of those different people that you just mentioned a second ago, and we had some that just didn't care, some that didn't care enough, some that they're just crazy and thought it was like, 5G out to kill, created the corona, whatever.
Right.
But now we got to the point that we're actually at this point now where we feared to be in April and May of last year. And during that time between, and it's been 10 months. During that time in between, we've fucking killed millions and millions of businesses and jobs and careers and people's livelihoods. And had we just done it together that one time, it would have sucked for everybody for 3 or 4 months.
Big time, yeah.
But we would have came through it, and we'd kind of be fighting the smaller battle now. But instead, we all strutted around doing whatever our different thing was,
It didn't feel like the United States. It felt like the States.
Yeah, and now we're on the other side of that. And not only do we have all these people whose lives are totally fucked over it, but we're not any better off. We're in a worse spot with it now, and we're just sitting there all with our fingers crossed, hoping that this the vaccine stuff comes out and just takes that spike down a little bit. But when you got people dying in the hallways and shit now, and mandates coming out from the LA City Council or the LA Medical Association that they're not going to pick you up if they don't think you got a chance.
Yeah. Like if you got shot and you're bleeding to death and they don't think you have a great chance of recovery, they don't even bring you to the hospital is what they've been directed to. And that's fucked, man. That sucks.
We did it to ourselves.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
The shitty part. It's the part that bugs me about it.
And it's not even the whole US. I think a lot of it's more central to California because I think a lot of the talking heads up above were very wishy-washy on what they were going to do and how to approach it. Not that I have any better answers.
Right.
I just think, I don't know, man. I don't want to get too into it, but, but basically what killed me and the saddest thing I saw in the entire year was it was when New York was ahead of California in the cases, which wasn't for very long, but maybe like a month. And I started seeing those refrigerated trucks full of people that didn't make it. And I was like, that struck a chord with me. Like I wanted to cry, man. Like that was the saddest thing I've ever seen in this country besides like 9/11, stuff like that, but I rank that right up there with that. And it sucks. And it sucks that everybody's so divided, and it sucks that everybody all of a sudden decided to become super political, and it sucks. All of it sucks. But I am glad that we have good friends and we have good people that are thinkers, and we have people that we can have a decent conversation with about safety and how we all feel about it. And it's fine to have different opinions. It's super fine.
I would say that the division, it's the same thing as like you mentioned with the politics and all that stuff, is there's so much division based on something like that. I have friends who won't talk to each other anymore.
Yep.
Because of how one person views Corona versus how someone else views Corona. And I mean, I get the politics thing. That's happened for, Charlie. My dad had, old friends he wouldn't talk to, because goddamn during elections. But this is the thing that if anything, we should at least kind of be pulling together on. This is like life and death, and it's the important part that like the people who are losing businesses, you're losing your income over this. If we could pull together on it, man, we could prevent that. But we're not. We got people out there who are so brazen against this that they're just like, well, I'm taking my chances, so I'm going to go lick this, freezer door at Walmart.
Yeah.
Because I don't, if I get it, I get it.
Look, the way I look at it is
it's just, and then you have people who are the other side of it who are just like so paranoid and so terrified that they're like their brains are turning into echo chambers, and they just sit at home and go nuts over it. I mean, that's just as bad.
Absolutely, just as bad.
Yeah.
It's there's definitely both sides, and we know people that are on both sides, and it's tough. And like I said, I don't know who's right. I don't really fucking care at this point. I know what I'm doing for my own safety, and I'm trying to take as many precautions as I can without completely demolishing any sort of semblance of my normal life. Because at a certain point, I have to do some things that this podcast is a great example. Like I picked a couple of COVID buddies that I decided, okay, these people are responsible. I know that they aren't around a lot of people, and they're the ones I'm okay with seeing. But then a lot of my other friends, I maybe once, twice this whole year I've seen, which sucks. But that was my decision to do that. And so we're gonna probably have a lot of guests through Skype and what's the other one? Zoom,
right?
You know what I mean? So we'll probably have some guests like that, and that's fine. Hang in there, everybody. We'll be here for you. But we got about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about some good shit.
Yeah, exactly. That's we don't want to end it just on the terrible shit that happened during this year.
I hope everybody's being safe, wearing rubbers and all that.
Yeah, and like breath condoms
and making sure you click it or ticket. Wear that seatbelt. So Brian is in a band called 6 Feet Over.
Woo-hoo.
6 Feet Over.
Yeah.
And we talked about it a little bit on the last one. You had an album come out.
We did. Yeah, it's our first one.
And how has everybody, first off, how do you put an album out in a pandemic?
Well, I'd just like to say first off that our album is huge in Ukraine and South America.
As it should be. As it should be. You're not going to believe this. My stuff's actually, I go by the moniker of Desert Danish. A lot of people from Denmark dig me.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how that happened.
Because they were reading it around
They were just typing in Danish.
They're like Desert Danish.
They're like Danish dubstep. Oh, Danish, Desert Danish. Okay, let's try that.
And the breakfast aficionados love you too.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So, that's a good question about how do you do that? You have time for lack of anything else. I mean, where you normally be spending this time out, playing out and playing gigs, you got time to practice and to take the songs that you were writing in your downtime and actually get some studio time and record them. For us, it was going to happen regardless of whether we were gigging at the same time or not. It just, we hit the momentum right at the right time and everything kind of just came together.
You were already starting the recording process when everything hit.
I would say we probably had 50 or 60% of the album that we put out, written when the bomb of COVID dropped on us.
Yeah.
But,
so we played the last show of the Apocalypse together.
We did.
That was March, right before the shutdown. It was
St. Patty's, yeah.
Weekend before. It was 2 days before the shutdown. We didn't know it was coming. But we almost didn't play the show because everyone was starting to get very concerned. And maybe we shouldn't have played the show, but I don't think anybody actually got COVID at that time from it or anything like that because we didn't have it in our remote little town yet.
Yeah.
And if we did, nobody really knew.
And we're sorry.
But no, we basically we had the last show of the Apocalypse is what we kind of called it. And it was almost that day that somebody pulled out from one of the bands saying we don't want to do it, and luckily we did convince them and move forward, and I'm really glad we did it. I think it maybe wasn't the safest decision, but it was a kick-ass show, and then we haven't been able to play or do anything since then except live streams.
I know,
and it's been tough. Can I tell you, I hate live streams. Not a fan, even the good ones.
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun to watch. I mean, it's good to hear music from your favorite artists and stuff, but it's not the same as watching a live concert. And,
right.
And it's to play them. We've done a couple, and it's just, man, it's hard. It almost feels like you're. I don't want to say the word lip syncing because you don't. I mean, we played live and we live streamed, but it almost feels like that, like you're performing to a camera.
So MC Squared was doing a bunch of cool live streams for a while, and you guys participated in that.
They did an amazing job.
They had a huge set down at the fair where they had curtains up, huge space, plenty of room between everybody. There was more than 6 feet between everybody.
Oh yeah, there was like 10 feet.
There was like 10 feet between people.
And nobody in the building. It was
super professional. Everything sounded great.
But it still felt like...
But it's weird.
It felt like you're performing to a camera.
Because you're playing to a camera. Yeah. And then I've seen some live streams from like practice. And it's just, I'll be honest, I watched like 6 minutes maybe. And then I'm like, all right, well.
No, I get you, man. I get you.
Yeah. And it's tough, and luckily music is always going to be there for us. And in whatever form it needs to be.
Well, you know what I'm hoping, Dane? I'm hoping we coming out of this, that all these musicians who are, they're stuck right now. They're quarantined or they're whatever. They're, that they're, when we do come out of this, it's just going to be just a giant, there's like this plethora of like fantastic music.
I hope that same ball of aggression that everyone's been pushing down and ready to ready to fight and ready to do all that. I hope that they put it into song form and get it out there to the people, because now here's the other side of that coin. I already don't want to hear your coronavirus COVID mix. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your song about it. I'm tired of it.
I was
I'm
stuck
over it.
at home for
I don't want to hear your COVID-19 blues. I got the blues.
And I sneezed.
And I sneezed on you. Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I just want to hear how you felt. I'd like to hear what you want to do.
Yeah, something real.
I don't want to hear, I got the fucking COVID-19 blues.
Yeah, just something real.
But I mean, if that's what you need, that's what you need. I'm just probably not going to download it.
So speaking of downloads, let's talk about what you've been doing in this year, in this COVID time.
So I've been writing an album for 10 years. And refining, revamping the songs, pulling some songs out, bringing them in. What I always do is I always start and I never finish. And then I get better equipment like the next year. And then I'm like, I'll just redo all that shit. So I have like 10 different takes of the same song throughout the years. And, each one's progressively better. But this year, I had this old supervisor that just really got on my case about finishing stuff. And he was like, look, man, just fucking do it. Finish the goddamn album.
It sounds like a smart guy.
Because I'm really tired of fucking hearing about how you're going to do an album.
That's like a smart guy. You should listen to that guy.
Was that what you said, Brian?
I think so.
So basically, it kind of got me thinking, and it got me motivated a little bit, because I get these text messages every couple weeks. How's the fucking album going, dude? And you're absolutely right. And in fact, if you hadn't done that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, which is pretty much done with the album. We're just in the mixing and mastering phase right now. It's almost there. It's coming out soon. I'm just letting people recover from Christmas.
Right. So yeah, speaking of that, since we're recording this podcast now, maybe
January 5th is the recording of this podcast.
Yeah, so maybe we drop a couple of tunes on this before, when we actually push it out. We can drop something from your album on there, and we can drop one of the songs from the 6 Feet Over album on there or something.
Yeah,
we own the rights to them now. We can actually play music on the podcast. So.
Yeah. So we'll if you don't hear it on here, definitely hit up 6 Feet Over on Bandcamp. It's a white logo on a black background, which is an SFO logo. Hit them up on Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes,
YouTube, everywhere.
If you're looking for my stuff, Desert Danish, 1S DESERT. I'm on Bandcamp, Spotify, iTunes, all that shit. I think I have 2 songs out now. Devil Whispers and Burning These Bridges.
Bye. How many songs are on the album that you're dropping?
There's going to be, I think 8 is where I'd have to count. I think there's 8. And then I'm doing a special treat where only people that buy the album are going to get a live version of all the songs. And I'm not really sure how that's going to happen yet, because 3 times I've tried to do it. The people that were going to help me out got COVID. So yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe I won't do it. But either way, the album's going to come out soon. And
I think, man, you just said you think there's 8 songs on this album you've been working on for 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. Now, don't get me wrong. There's 25 songs, but 8 of them I think made it onto the album.
Actually, going to be released.
Yeah. And I had a lot of help on the way, which was nice.
All right, so that's a couple of good things that happened this year.
Yeah.
So before we sign off here, I know we're running out of time, but there's one other thing that happened this year that was kind of monumental.
Lay it on me, brother.
Well,
what you got?
Well,
Dane.
every time I do it, I hear Matt Wadley in my head for some reason.
Oh, we miss Matt.
I do. I really miss that guy. Of all the people, I'd love to just give Matt a big hug and have a beer with him. But God, I want to say early, maybe real early, right before the shutdown in 2020. I was up in Kernville, up in the mountains with some friends of mine, and we were drinking, and we were in this hotel. And we ended up stumbling down to this game room in there, and looking for something to do. And there was a distinct lack of a ping pong table in there. And I had this little bit of a ping pong background back in the day, and so I mentioned it, and then this drunk asshole started talking trash about how good he was.
What'd you do?
Well, over the course of like the next 7 months,
really,
I trash talked with this guy.
Wow!
And it finally
about ping pong.
Yeah.
Table tennis.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. No, to cut a long story short, all that really did happen, but Dan and I participated in the Ping Pong Apocalypse 2020 here a few months ago.
I don't want to talk about it, first of all.
There's controversies surrounding the event.
I think a huge shout out needs to go to Tom.
Yeah, Tom Rent,
because he hooked us up, man.
He took a stupid drunk thing and turned it into a multimedia
epic
event. Yeah,
epic. I mean, we had points on the screen.
We did.
We had multiple camera angles. We had lights. We had smoke.
Yeah.
We had scorekeepers. I mean, it was insane, man.
Yeah, we had guest commentators.
My son was in Salt Lake City at the time, and he said him and his friends ordered pizza and sat and watched all 3 hours and got so into it. It was like the Super Bowl. He said where he was so pissed when I lost because, he was team dad.
All right.
And so I lost, spoiler alert, but not by much. There might have been some alcohol involved. I think in a fair fight, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the Twisted Tea guy. If it had been a fair fight, bro.
See, humility. Back. Anyway,
that was the coolest thing that happened all year.
It was fun. It was for us. It was a great way to provide a little bit of levity and some fun for all of our friends who've been locked down for so long, and everybody you've got nothing to do. You really want to see your friends. You really can't. So it was a night where we kind of just turned into morons and filmed it and had to.
We had intro songs like wrestlers.
We really did. Anyway, we can drop a link to that in the description below. And
we don't have a website.
Oh yeah, a website coming soon.
Oh, cool, nice.
Yeah,
good times. Good times.
Anyway, Pong Apocalypse.
Pong Apocalypse,
Yeah.
and I can't thank Tom enough for making that happen. That was super
fantastic.
cool. I'm really hoping there's a rematch someday. Maybe when it's not so cold outside.
Yeah,
Maybe it's cold outside.
and not so COVID-y outside.
When it's not so COVID-y, with all the COVID-idiots. That was the term of the year.
Yeah, probably was.
Anyway, no matter what you think and no matter what you do with your life, as long as you're not the Twisted Tea guy, we love you and we appreciate you.
No,
guys.
if you're the guy, we have to define that Twisted Tea victim or the
Yeah. No, as long as you're not the guy getting hit in the face with a Twisted Tea because you're an asshole.
There you go.
We appreciate you.
Perfect.
And we love you either way, regardless of politics or health concerns, I guess. We appreciate everybody listening, and we can't wait to come back at you with more podcasts. We're coming up with some other things to do on here as well, news and whatnot.
Yeah, this season should be good. We're going to try and get some really interesting guests on here and make things a little bit more different, but keep the focus on music and movies. And
I got a couple aces in the hole, if you know what I'm saying. Wink.
Yeah, I know you do.
Now, before we go, you have to ask me what you ask every single guest on our show from here on out.
All right, Dane, do you have a walk-in of the week?
A walk-in of the week, a Christopher Walken impression. Is that what you're asking me for?
That's what I'm asking for.
Okay. I was coming up with a couple earlier I was thinking about.
Fantastic.
Which is not fair to the guests. Now, I didn't look up any of the lines, but let me think here. That's your tone. It's all wrong. You say it to me again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
That wasn't bad.
All right.
It was a little deep though. You did the you
yeah.
did the voiceover guy kind of thing in there too.
Your tone, it's all. I can't do it, man. The other one I was going to do was from Seven Psychopaths. I don't know if you've seen that flick, but he's talking. He's talking to this guy about a movie, and he talks about this really serious scene that he should put in the guy's movie, and the guy said some kind of word towards gay people that I don't feel like repeating, and he goes, by the way, I think they prefer homos.
That was weird because you sound like a mix between Walken and Barbarino.
Hey, you know what? I've been doing a lot of John Travolta impressions lately.
You sounded a lot like
what was the one I said earlier? I was taking out the trash, and so it was from Broken Arrow. You ever seen that flick with Christian Slater?
Yeah, and Morgan Freeman.
And I think he blows up the first nuclear weapon under the ground, and he goes, "Guess that goddamn what a rush." And I fucking love when he says that, man. It's I think about it all the time. So with that, we will leave you guys and all the sweat hogs and Vinny Barbarino and Mr. Kate. And we hope you have an awesome night. And thank you guys for listening to us. We'll talk to you later. Guess that goddamn what a rush.